Hello everyone, and let's do another SWTOR video, counting down to 7.0, Legacy of the Sith. I got it right this time. You see, I knew I would get it right. Finally got it right this time. Legacy of the Sith is coming in December still. It's not been delayed. It wouldn't surprise me if it's been delayed, because everything else gets delayed. So this is the itemization in 7.0 that we're going to go through. We're going to start with they're saying their philosophy for gearing and progression in 7.0 is to ensure players have the gear they need to play the content they want. We've heard that before. And that they can grow their power over time. What's the point in growing your power over time when like 98% of the game is level synced? And I say that that won't change with the expansion unless the expansion is huge, which I doubt. In terms of content, at least the last few expansions have been pretty anemic in terms of their content, really. But yeah, because the majority of the game's level synced, and the majority of the stats are a waste of time. Power, endurance, mastery are capped at level sync, so they are therefore useless. The only stat that matters is the tertiary stat, the crit, alacrity, accuracy. Accuracy doesn't matter if you're a healer. But again, accuracy when you hit the cap. So they're getting rid of accuracy. Let's find out when we read this. We read through it. This is easy and cheap content, isn't it? Reading articles, who'd have thought it? Easy, cheap stuff. So whether a player is there for the story, taking the most powerful challenges in the galaxy, getting the game to run is a hell of a challenge. What about that? So Legacy of the Sith will introduce a vertical progression path for gearing. Vertical. I realize horizontal's a better way to do it. You progress along. No, it depends what axis you're doing. That's semantics. Type of progression is new to the game. 7.0 other players, new experiences and ways to obtain gear. Within a game update, a player can regularly work towards getting stronger and know that more power is on the horizon. So the philosophy is to remove RNG. Yay! Because RNG is just pointless. The problem with RNG is it's not fair. You could do so much content and just keep getting gloves all the time. That was the thing about it. The amount of what did I get all the time? The amount of weapons I got in 6.0 was insane. I was just vendoring them at the end. They were just worthless. I wasn't even looking at the mods and enhancements in them after a while. I was just so fed up getting bloody weapons. 306 weapons. I'm fed up with them. Never had the right bloody, what was it called again? Amplifier in it either. None of them ever had that. Why would I want a barrel with force potency in it? None of the force users could use a gun. What's the point in that? Yeah, so removing RNG is a good thing. Also removing the renown system as well. So they're going to introduce the weekly content. It will be the fastest and most efficient way to obtain upgrades. Secondly, risk is rewarded. Player chooses to complete content on a higher difficulty will be rewarded with better gear, as it should be. Really, that should be it. Better, more difficult content should be better gear rewards. I agree with that again. The next part is gaining power. So the majority of gear upgrades will be offered through weekly mission rewards or by trading in reward gear to purchase an upgrade. Player receives an upgrade as a mission reward. That reward will affect the player's lowest rated equipped piece of gear. See, that's good because, again, the weapon problem that we faced in the last expansion. Now, I remember getting gloves a lot in 5.0. Remember that. That was the thing, getting a lot of gloves. And they were kind of useless because even if they were moddable, they didn't have an enhancement in them. That really annoyed me. The gloves, no, in fact, it wasn't gloves. It was the belts. Belt and bracers. That was those bracers. Belt and bracers never had enhancements in them. Gloves did have enhancements in them. Sorry, my bad. It was bracers I used to get all the time. I used to always get stuck with the bracers as well in Eternity Vault because I'd always win that. Remember that? That was 4.0. The spamming of Eternity Vault. That was a terrible way to gear. Instead of dealing with a large quantity of drops and bosses, players will receive one or two possibilities. Two possible progress rewards. A type of currency can be traded to a vendor as part of the gear upgrade. So I guess that'll be the replacement for tech fragments, I'm guessing. Or rewards can be used towards an upgrade. So the random component players are used to experiencing, as mentioned, RNG and the RNG associated with the renown system, the renandom system. There you go. I'll go for that. Impact of the did not have a significantly positive impact on the experience of the player. No shit, it didn't. It had a terrible experience on the player. How are you meant to gear competitively just getting random crap? Most of it was just vendor junk in the end. So I take it they're keeping the personal loot system as well. That's good because it prevents loot ninjaing. I'm a big fan of personal loot system. So they're removing renown in nearly all RNG, which is good. So I guess it'll just analyze what you need. I guess it'll have an item rating. It does have an overall item rating in the game, but I guess it's going to split that into each individual slot. Haven't been on the PTS, by the way, because they can't be bothered going on the PTS. I don't have time. Got a life to live, I'm not wasting my life playing on the PTS, and then all your progress gets deleted. No, screw that. I want stuff to be permanent, at least, because I ain't going on the PTS. Not getting PTSD again from the public test server. Further efforts to build a fulfilling experience for players. It sounds a bit like World of Warcraft's gearing system. It kind of sounds like that. I won't lie to you, WoW's gearing system is horrific. It was terrible, World of Warcraft. Legions was alright, at least. But yeah, Shadowlands, which I got fed up with a long time ago. The gearing was absolutely horrible in that game. Absolutely horrible. I don't know what it's like now since, patch 9.1, but when I was playing it, it was horrible. I stopped playing it around May time, so a few months ago now. So Group Finder will only feature a limited set of flashpoints and story operations each week. Oh. No Hammer Station spam. There you go, that's their example they're giving. Players who queue for this random set will earn a guaranteed upgrade to the lowest equipped gear slot as their weekly Group Finder reward. So that's good. At least it's going to be an upgrade. I think that's decent. Players can run the content multiple times per week, but the guaranteed upgrade will only be rewarded at the end of the first 3 runs. So it's kind of says it'll just be the weekly quest that you do. So complete 3 flashpoints, essentially. I take it it'll be different types of flashpoints. Will it all be condensed into one, or will it just be like 3 veteran flashpoints, 3 master mode flashpoints, and 3 story mode ops? Or will it just be complete 3 quests from that list? Or what? It doesn't matter. Do 2 flashpoints in an operation. But yeah, that's pretty good. So players will receive currency that can be used to rewards upgrade. Used towards upgrade. Again, the legendary items as well, they're going to be upgradable at a vendor, I guess, and they'll be used by the currency, whatever it's called. So they're known as the gearing ceiling, interestingly enough, that they mentioned. So players are going to start with 308 to 318 item level, so that will probably drop from the story quest between 75 and 79, I'm taking it that is. So that's higher than the previous expansion tier. What you will do is you'll get all your level 75. When you hit, you'll just keep a set of 306 gear. And when you hit 75, you'll put the character in that 306 gear and then go on. Or even if the 308 gear is level 75, kind of what you did in the expansion, what was it, 268 gear you had at the time? You just kept one set of gear for all your alts. Hopefully these are all legacy based. Let's hope so. So once a player reaches level 80, the gear reward item rating will be level 320. Okay, so gear obtained via conquest can be upgraded to item rating 326. A further update, the base gear will be rewarded in the game to 322. Okay, the base gear rewarded in the same content be 322, so you're going to upgrade, and the upgrade limit increased to 320. So yeah, over time it'll be a catch-up mechanic that they're going to put in the game. Nearly all of the gears reward upgraded will be static and non-moddable. I don't like that. I don't like static gear, because again, you're just making it less customizable and less way we build the character. Because if it's always got the same stats in it, it's going to be kind of annoying, really, is the way, because, certain characters and classes favor certain stats. And it's swapping in mods and enhancements really was the main thing, because they had the tertiary stat in them. So players will still be able to use moddable gear. This type of gear is not required for players to be effective in any content in the game. Access to moddable gear vendor will be granted. Item rating 334. Highest possible gear attainable in the major game update following 7.0. So that will increase as the expansion goes on, I take it, and content updates are there. Add an additional layer of stat customization for to min-max their characters between major updates. Yeah, I think you don't really need to min-max unless you're raiding or doing high-end PvP. So that is, I think it's something that not everyone's going to be able to do. But it is nice to do. It is nice to customize things and move things around just for something to do in the game, really. So we want the gear upgrade to be smooth as possible. So they'll be keeping the existing augments in 7.0 at launch. Augments got really out of hand. They were so expensive in the last expansion, really. So that they're still going to be their augments. Augments at least provide some customization. You tended to use them to just fill in the blanks of what you were missing. For the time being, existing augment kits will be usable on the 7.0 gear. That's fine. So yeah, so we're gonna get they're just breaking down how you get gear in the last part. So yeah, so you've got the random flashpoint or the random featured flashpoint via group finder. That's good because the hammer station spam even can't even say it anymore. I'm so sick of that. Jesus, hammer station was like one of the quickest flashpoints to get your chests basically that they were giving away. The 2 chests that dropped for doing a master mode flashpoint. So thank God they're doing something about that because I got bored of Hammer Station. Jeez, I think they'll be glad to get Hammer Station spam out the way. Yeah, so there's nothing really. Conquest is going to be the main source for solo players. PvP gearing, who cares about PvP? Stun versus stun, who cares? So operations are going to be divided into legacy and current operations. Legacy operations, all operations introduced during the Legacy of the Sith expansion cycle. So they're going to introduce more raids. That's interesting. So it will allow upgrades with item rating caps determined by their difficulty. Yeah. Current operations will operate a bit differently. Gear tokens will drop from bosses, be tradable among the group. For example, after defeating one boss, player may be awarded a token for pants, the magic pantaloons of destiny, at an item rating of 328. They can either turn them into the token or to choose the piece of gear or trade it to another player. That's an interesting idea. So it'll still be personal loot, but you can trade it at least. I think you can still trade personal loot with the group in the current expansion. So that's interesting. So will it be any good? I think you probably have to wait for the expansion to launch. The last gearing system was probably the best out of the last 3 expansions. And that's not saying much because the last 3 expansions were awful. The 6.0 one was just less awful, at least. You were still getting lower tiered and it was still RNG, but they just threw a lot of things at you. Most of it was vendor junk. It was like Diablo, again, where you get a lot of stuff, but most of it's useless. It was kind of like that. At least they're moving away from that in this expansion. And hopefully they've learned their lesson. Hopefully, doing your weeklies, it gives you a reason to do them after a while. Because that was one of the things when you got to 306 gear, and you were just min-maxing, it was there was very little reason to do the weekly content, like weekly flashpoints, weekly operations. Bit pointless doing them. So hopefully this is better in 7.0. But anyway, that is all for this video. So thank you for joining me. We'll see you again soon, and goodbye.